Hello again, folks. Ready for another one? Well, here we go. The latest that I've picked up is a Bushnell Rangemaster, the one built by Tamron in Japan. Now, why would I bother doing that? Well, you should know by now that I get caught up in my own questionings. I am curious and I wonder, especially when people bother to tell me, "Oh, you haven't gotten a Rangemaster yet." You owe it to yourself to get one. So I start look around and I recognize that, boy, this is definitely yet another cult classic. And I have a natural curiosity about binoculars when there's a cult built around it. So we did the Tento routine, found out that was a very nice binocular. I'm very happy with it. I didn't think it personally, this is just personal, I didn't think it rose to the level of something that you should form a cult around. We did the Swarovski, the Habich, and that was nice. I guess people who have the new ones, I have people writing me say, "Oh, well, that was an old one. You need to see the new ones. The old ones weren't where you need to start." So that's still in the air. I'm not about to spend $1,400 for that narrow a vision binocular, but this one, okay, it's another cult favorite. Let's give it a shot, see if it warrants being that excited about. Now we titled this thing "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly" for a reason. There's those apply to this in spades, really. Now there's an urban legend, or it's a true story, I'm not sure which, that Dave Bushnell actually went to Fuji Photo Optical, which is what we'll call the FPO version, asked them to design the best thing they could come up with and let him worry about the price. They came up with a 10-degree version that is pretty much a conventional Poro. It's just that they evidently couldn't make them fast enough, or as many as they needed to within a certain time period. Those pieces, I looked for them. Those pieces are going from $800 up to $1,800. I mean, it's a bit more than I care to spend for a cult piece that I haven't even had a chance to check out. That's the FPOs, but the 11-degree Tamron design you can get at fairly reasonable prices. Again, $250 seemed to be not too much to spend. I bought one, checked it out, sent it back because it had fungus inside, and I just simply didn't care to deal with it. I really was thinking in terms of using the money for other pieces, for other videos. But in the end, the bug got me, and I looked them up again. I found a guy who was trying to auction his off, and the opening bid was to be $90. So I just said yes to $90, and evidently I was the only one bidding, so I got it. It's not in as nice physical condition, but it's much better internally. I'm thinking, yeah, $90, get it, review it, get rid of it, and I can't do it. I'm going to hold on to this one. I'll tell you why. Let's get through the ugly part. The ugly part is that it's ugly, in my opinion. Other people may think it's beautiful. I guess somebody had to give it approval, but it looks like they just basically flipped the whole Poro design upside down, and it's a weird bat-winged, chunky, clunky layout that it optically works, but the ugly part of it leads into part of the bad, which is that it's so unconventional in its layout. It's just simply, to me, not natural or comfortable to hold. It's just really, really awkward. And the very first time I picked it up, the $250 version, I was like, nah, I'm not going to lug this thing around. It is actually also quite heavy. It's about 2.5 pounds. And, people will say something's built like a tank, and you may hear that too often, but man, that pretty much describes it. The negative side is how much weight comes with it being built like it is. But I will eventually be explaining why I no longer look at it as ugly as I have originally seen it. It does have its own type of beauty, but more with the bad. It's very short eye relief. Not at all for me. Not at all for anybody with glasses. I measured it on the bench from the rim to the highest concentration of light was 7 millimeters. That's nowhere good enough. The eye cups are actually built down into the external body of the oculars, such that you can remove them, but you aren't gaining enough out of it to be worth anything. Now here's the thing. If any of you have seen my review about the Asahi Pentax line, I made the comment there that in a way it's kind of like false advertising, that they advertise these large fields, but you really can't enjoy them. The design is such that even if you take your glasses off, you put your eyes almost right against the glass, you still can't see the very edge. I can't. Maybe it's just the way my eye sockets are. Again, this is just me, folks. But when I'm looking through them, I can't see the edge of the field. And that's the same with this. This has got glorious 11 degrees field of view that there's just no way you're going to be able to enjoy. I took my glasses off just to see what I could see, and the best I can get out of it is about, 9 degrees field that I can see clearly from edge to edge. Put my glasses on, and now I'm down to pretty much about 7 degrees. I might as well just be looking through a standard 7x50. If you cock your head way over, just really peer off to the side, you can eventually see the edge of the field, but that's kind of pointless. And a piece like this, I would tend to think is kind of worthless, except for what the good is. And when I talk about the good, I am going to only be talking about the part that you can see. With glasses, about 7 degree field, but here comes the good. And the good is it's turned me around. This thing is really, really, really sharp. I'm going to say it's as sharp as any 7x35 has a right to be. We took it out. We did the 1951 test target routine. And the one thing we did different is because we wanted better lighting, we had to switch our setup a bit. And we were moving the target to 50 yards rather than to the typical 60. Still, what struck me, and I compared it to everything I've got, including the Asahi Pentax Marine, which is my golden standard for judging 7x35s. And this thing beat it. The Asahi has finally met its match. This sucker actually let me make out group -1, element 3. Did you want to say something, Steve? Okay. And I got to tell you, that's better than I'm getting out of my Zoins, out of my Seiko Zone 2 toys. And by the way, you heard me say toys for a reason. This is just an aside. I got to let you guys know. I've been pushing this thing on you long enough and starting to question whether or not I'm doing you right, because maybe I just got lucky. It was just, a fluke. I went ahead and asked Yvonne in China to send me another one. Same thing, 8 by 32. Just, I had to see what the consistency would be. This is it in their other color. It's kind of like what you'd expect if you're got a marine purposed binocular. And yes, it will float in water. And I took it out and tested it, and it's the same. It's just, to me, they're outstanding for the price. Just absolutely outstanding units. I really also love the whole cup on the right side. The eye cup is the diopter, and it's just the right tension. And I'm thinking, yeah, nothing's going to beat this. None of these, either of these, they're as fantastic as they are. They generally come in at group -1 element 2. This thing actually was so precise it would let me make out the spacing between the bars of element 3. Can you get more out of an alpha binocular? I'll go find out. I mean, I'm interested, but I'm almost ready to bet that's probably going to be about the limit from an alpha. Am I saying it's alpha quality across the board? No, not at all. I really am not happy not seeing the edge of the field, but from what I can see, it's actually become, in an odd way, kind of my favorite. I love the Asahi Pentax, but it's individual focus, and I do have to take some time. The depth of field, put plainly, is fabulous. From about 60 yards to, I don't know, 15 yards. It was amazing. It's like hardly any change of focus. It really was startling. Is this why people like them? Is it just the sharpness? Is it the depth of field? What else does it have to offer? It may not actually have a very good sweet spot. How would I know? Because I can't see the edge of the field. But if we're just going by what I can see, it appears to have 65 to 70% sweet spot. That's nice. Not expected, but nice. Good contrast. Color's very natural. The color aberration control of secondary color is really, really good. It's certainly better than the Asahi. It's actually, with regular glass, it seems to perform better than some binoculars I have that have ED glass in them. I don't know. Maybe that's why there's a cult following around them. I don't know, and I'm welcoming anybody out there to definitely write and give your opinions if you got these things. Am I right? Am I wrong? I've only had the two, but the two were basically neck and neck. They're the same in their performance. Another thing I noticed, every binocular has, rectilinear distortion. You move it off to the side. As you're moving it, of course, things that are straight up and down begin to bend. You got the pincushion effect. This had some of the most minimal distortion that I've ever run into. It was barely there. But then again, that's just the 7 degrees that I can see with my glasses. But this is what makes it a pleasurable unit for me. I don't have to see the bad because I can't. They designed it to where I can't see the bad. This is all the good. Really, really nice. And good contrast, too. It really has surprised me in its performance. And so far, of all the cult binoculars, this is the one that's actually impressed me the most. I'm not saying I didn't like the others. I'm just saying this one is like, kind of a shocker. It's kind of like, okay, I can understand why people are saying you owe it to yourself to get one of these. I wish I could see the full field, but good luck, unless you guys are designed differently, like an alien. I don't think you're going to be seeing the edge of the field either. Again, if you can, and I'm just experiencing it in an odd way, definitely let me know. I'd like to hear. This is just how it stands with me. I said before that people like to use the term built like a tank. This one's definitely, it impresses me in its build quality. The thing is just solid. And the best part of its being so solid is the ocular bridge. I have a number of really nice binoculars, but the weakness in them as a Poro design is that you can, when you put them up to your brow or your nose or whatever, depending on the binocular, your bridge wobbles. There's a little bit of play on that central shaft, and as you put it to your eyes, there's a tendency sometimes for it to lose a little bit of focus. It goes out just a tad. Sometimes really bad ones I just simply reject. But on this thing, it's so stiff. I mean, I was deliberately yanking on this thing to get any movement. Can you force movement? Yeah. Are you going to get it in natural use? No way. This is just really way too solid. The focuser is it's slightly heavy, but it's utterly smooth from side to side. You can't feel a hitch in it. It's very nice, and I like the fact that it's kind of buried in the design. It's not so exposed a wheel as you get on a lot of others, to where it's you have more access to it to actually accidentally knock it out of alignment. It's enough to get a hold of, enough to make your changes, not so much, that you're going to accidentally move it. The diopter, I was talking about the diopter here on the Seiko Zooms being the whole cup and it being just the right force, just the right tension. This is, I changed my mind. This is even better. It's as old as this thing is, and when it was made, I don't know, but we're certainly talking a few decades. It is utterly smooth, and it is just the right tension. There's no way this thing's going to move on me in any normal usage. What usage is that going to be? I don't know. It's so freaking heavy. I don't think I want to carry it around, and it's very awkward. But if I were just going to set up to check out the horizon, this thing, it's staying with me at $90. What am I? Yeah, it's staying with me. I'm going to enjoy this. Now I have an utterly super sharp 7x35 that has central focus, that is as solid as individual focus. It's just, it's really nice. Be nice if it was waterproof, which I don't believe it is. But a really, really nice binocular. For all the quality build that's in it and the ocular goodies, it covers a lot of the bad. And performance-wise, it kind of takes away the sting of it being so awkward and visually ugly. It's not really that ugly anymore. In fact, it covers the mess. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the meh. And the meh is totally livable. The transparency, I've had ones that had a lot more transparency. I just recently had a Nikon Action Express in 7x35. I just got it at a good price, like $50. Figured, let's check it out. Use it as kind of a baseline. No. That the best that it could barely barely make out group -1 element 1. It has wonderful transparency though. Big field that I can actually use, but couldn't even touch this thing for sharpness. Yeah, this thing is not quite as transparent. I'd almost hesitate to say that there's a haze, but it's just not really that transparent, but perfectly good, perfectly enjoyable. The brightness, meh, it's okay. It's not super bright. It's not as bright as the Asahi Pentax. But it's not, while it's not amazing, it's not bad. It's just, perfectly fine. It's right there. You don't want to use this probably for looking at bugs. I did my own personal testing and found that the short focus came out to about 15 feet. But I don't care. I'm not out for looking at caterpillars. I am going to be using this thing. I'm going to be using it plenty, and it's kind of going to have to be the new gold standard when it comes to comparing other 7x35s if they ever come up. And is it possible that you can get an alpha that can do better than this in the center? I'm not talking about out to the sides. That's when you start paying the good money because you're getting a larger sweet spot. But as far as the center's concerned, I'm doubting it. So you cultists out there, okay, you win this one. And for those of you that might want to jump on board and be part of that cult, well, I've never looked through an FPO, so I don't know the difference. I can't honestly tell you anything about that. But if you want to get the cheaper version, maybe it's cheaper because it was so ugly, because it's so unusual, because it feels like you ought to have the hands of an alien to even pick it up. They're not that expensive. And from the two that I've picked up, from the physical build and everything, they come intact. They actually are quite nice. Even the first one that had a bit of fungus in it was very, very light, and I knew I'm going to get in there, I'm going to get that off. It's probably not even going to leave a mark. It hasn't had enough time to etch. This one I'm going to say might be worth it. I'll give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to start having fun with it. If you want to pick these up, join the club. Join our cult. And with that, I'm going to let you go. And we'll see you next time. Bye.